Again, on this episode, my microphone doesn't seem to be working. I was testing a new piece of recording software and it didn't get my microphone, and I did a couple of episodes back to back, which was 2 and 3. So this is me adding narration on afterwards. This is where I think I'm looking through the planters to see both what I can afford and seeing if I can actually do that sowing contract, because that is a very nice little earner. Trying to see if I can actually do it though by my own means. Well, we have got very limited funds. We have got a little bit. Now, we did buy the cast last time. I'm trying to second guess what I'm thinking. That's probably where I was talking about that being that 12 meters, one of my larger ones. That one there, the 12 meter version of that, is one of my go-to mods, the bigger ones. Although I've tried to stay away from something that large for quite a while actually. Moved to doing 2 smaller things rather than 1 large one. This is where I'm obviously yes, I'm borrowing the item, so I'm definitely going for that contract. I know I do anyway. So that's going to net us an awful lot of money. But I am borrowing the items this time. Of course this is the cotton one. That's why I borrowed the items, because I have got, at this point, I have got a little seeder. But obviously not that plants cotton. It only plants the normal crops, hence I've got to borrow this because it's just too good an earner to sort of turn away. I know that this is going to take a lot of, it's got very limited funds. This was a bit of a, I was fully aware that with 3,289 obviously I needed to pour nearly all of my resources into this to make it work. So even with this seeder, I know there's going to be journeys backwards and forwards to the shop even with this, which is why I have a brainwave. Mod that I've discovered recently, which is absolutely amazing when you've got a proper tractor with a front 3-point link. Now this is, I think, where I would go into the planter section and explain to you that my normal go-to mod is, no it's not, I think I showed it briefly, there's a 8,000 for the 2,200 litre box for seeds and that, but this transporter mod works as exactly the same way with 3,000 storage and cheap as chips, and it's also very good as a bucket for cleaning out your animals. This it has become one of my go-to mods, a very recent find. You cannot fill it directly from a fill trigger mod like the container, but if you use your brain, you've got a seeder and it creates, well, you're going to see me do it in a minute. You can't fill it directly, that's the one disadvantage, but if you use your head, like many of these type of things, you'll see what I do now to get around that one deficiency. You can, that's the minimum size it can go as well, I think. You can go for a 3,000 litre extension. Yeah, it's a meat. Not able to, that's it. So now I can use those and that will fill directly. Now I did miss a trick here, looking back in editing, because what I would have done or should have done was expand the size of the front box to the 3,000 extension, and then I probably would not get into the trouble that I'm going to get into with this thing. But hindsight is such a wonderful thing. It is a shame though. But I know what happens, of course, because I've already recorded this. I've got to get better at not revealing bloopers until they happen when you're recording narration after the fact. This was quite a daring contract this early on, because I have, as I say, got very, very limited funds. I can see why I did it, but it was sort of almost toying with disaster. And disaster does come and find us, but not one that we can't deal with, but we have to take a sacrifice, and that's as much as I'm saying for now. But I think it is true to life though, sometimes you do overextend yourself, and this is one instance where I do. If I'd had the foresight though to extend that front box to the 3000 capacity and filled that with seed at the beginning, I might not have got into the mess that I get into. Because at this particular instance I had enough money to extend it. I think actually it's free, I don't think the extension costs you anything. And I also had enough money to fill it with seeds as well. But I'd do some things in a little while that then mean I've got no money left for seeds, which then means I can't finish the contract. So it's one of those situations of my own making. I think we're soon going to go into a time-lapse sequence. This is where I'm looking for where the field is, and this is of course one of the biggest fields on the map, the actual Lone Oak field. Field 49 that has caused me so much jip already on this Let's Play. This is the one where when I was cultivating it went wrong and I had to cultivate it twice. So yes, it would be nice to receive a bit of good luck from Field 49 with this huge payout for sowing. So for me telling you there's a setting in Courseplay, and there is still a setting in Courseplay where you can switch off the using the fertilizer thing, but you have to be in the right setting in the first place. Courseplay is ever so clever. If I've chosen field work instead of seeding and planting, the option doesn't appear. Yeah, it was there. It was on that last one, the cog one, about use fertilizer. And I didn't see it, because I can see it now, and I'm chuntering about it not working. Oh, I must have clicked it. Right, I'm shutting up now. Contract finished. Oh no, it's not. That's me. Go. This is another thing, a bad thing that I explained on a couple of episodes ago about the way that if you do a time lapse, you do the time lapse. You don't keep darting about. It's a habit I've got to get out of. Of course, I'm darting over to my other tractor, but the thing is, if you're going to do a time lapse, just do a time lapse and stick to it. Don't keep darting around. It's again, I am new to the time lapse side of things, so I am secretly chiding myself for my stupidity, and it is something I am hoping to get better. I don't want to be doing too many time lapses, but when I do a time lapse, I want to make sure it's good and it doesn't go away to other screens for me doing other things. I want to stick to the time lapse to get the contract finished. This is where I'm going to do the test of those strips of lands, which it escapes my notice, which I have explained again earlier in I think it was the last episode, escapes my notice because it's got the animation, the look, that it looks like a ploughed or cultivated field. I think something's wrong and that the map maker has changed the rules. They haven't at all. It's still got to be ploughed. I've still got to carve a field out or cultivated. You can't just because it looks like it's ploughed or looks like it's cultivated or it looks like it's got an animation where you could just sow on it, doesn't mean it is. The land is mine, but you've still got to make a field out of it, which at this point in time escapes my notice. I'm too busy wondering why it's doing the animation for seeding, but my seeds aren't going down. It's because it's not doing it. It's just not ready to accept seeds. But that at this moment in time, that fact escapes my notice, and as it does, throws a bit of a mind bender as I begin to second guess myself on why is this. See, that animation throws me out. I'm thinking, well, why is it not letting me plant? It's not letting you plant because you've not ploughed the field. It's following normal farming simulator rules, but it is obviously trying to do an animation. So at this moment in time, that escapes my notice. I just can't grasp that concept on why it is. We revisit this in an episode or two where I give it another shot and I actually do realise my mistake and we do begin to carve fields out. At this moment in time, I'm like thinking, oh, it's not planting, I can't see that it's not working, what's wrong? And having a bit of a mini meltdown as you do in these moments. Yeah, I can't understand it. I'm going over it again. Why can I not see that this is planting wheat? Why is it doing an animation and not actually working? That's because I'm not observing proper game mechanics. The game says no. So I go back to the drawing board, stay between my legs thinking, oh, why is this not working? Why is it not showing planted? Because you've not planted. So yes, it needs ploughing in red is a bit of a clue, which I miss at that moment. A penny does drop eventually, just not now. I think I'm saying, oh, the map maker's changed things perhaps since I last played this, or because I'm playing seasons it's changed this. It's nothing to do with that, but I'm just trying to, in my head, work through the checklist of what possible reasons why this is not working. So it does, as I say, the penny does drop eventually, but just at this moment I'm, woe is me, the world is against me. See, look again, cultivated. And it looks like it's working. This is what throws you a bit of a mind bender, and I think most people would get that. But look, oh look, it's not planted wheat, and yet it's showing the planted animation, and that looks like it's cultivated, but it's not. It's not cultivated. It's. I mean, it is we all would, I think, feel that same way. I can see why I come to the conclusion I do, but obviously, because of the animation side of things, that's what throws me God, that dip is bad. That's what throws me the curveball at this moment in time, and I can see why I sort of do that, because I'm trusting in my eyes rather than what I know. It's me leaving that for another day. Oh, is this where I sell it? Because I think it's useless. That you know, I think, oh, it's no good, which is silly, because later on I buy another one, because it is such an absolutely ace, very reasonable, and also 10 meters cast. Whoa, that drags me everywhere. That wasn't me driving badly, it's the edge of that rut, it drags you around. Right, I'm trying to second guess what I'm thinking now. Probably still berating seasons, precision farming, the maps makers change things. I don't mean I'm having a right go off. I don't slag anybody off. I'm so chuffed at what the modders and the map makers do. It's amazing. I'd love to be able to do what they do. I've edited maps, and I know I have edited a mod just to improve something once or twice, but I try to leave things as they are and try and respect the modders' work rather than change things. So still need fuel. Now, what am I thinking? Is this where I make an ill-fated decision that has consequences that are far-reaching? Possibly. This is right. They are a fantastic mod, but again, I just think slightly unrealistic. You can turn up to 36 meter casting. I did use them on one map, and I felt a bit cheaty because it's got such a good cast that I thought, well, it doesn't seem quite realistic enough to me. That's is this where I buy it? No, I can't do, surely, because can't afford it. This is where I'm obviously pointing out and looking through all the mods that are available and seeing if there's anything that can save my bacon. I'm looking at the John Deere, which we do buy eventually. Is this the point that I buy it and actually shoot myself in the foot because we can't really afford it at this precise moment? Yes, it looks like it. Yeah, that was the decision. That was a good decision, but not at this time. That was a bad decision, and that became a very costly decision, because look how low our funds are. It has a very far-reaching consequence. My sort of impatience or trying to make something happen when I'm not observing the bigger picture is a disaster of my own making, is in the offing. I do a couple of valiant attempts to rally, I might add, but I don't really amount so much. I have to do a serious sacrifice to make this work so that we keep that contract, which is the all-important thing that could actually make or break us at this precise moment in the sequence of events so far. Really couldn't afford this either. This was so silly. Just, it's amazing how you you go through your habits. Now normally, of course, I could afford fertiliser, but look at my money. It's not shrieking out to me that I'm being silly, that I've got no money left. Bearing in mind I've got a worker doing that massive contract, which I know about, but some reason none of this is entering my head, and I'm digging myself into a position that I'm totally unaware of at this precise moment in time. You guys can probably see exactly what's going to happen. The only person oblivious to what is happening is going to be me, and this is where it's struggling, because that is quite a hefty beast for such a tiny little tractor, and it's also very uneven, so that's not helping either. I know what it is. It's all about me trying to prove that those strips of land, that you can actually do it, but I didn't need the fertiliser, didn't pay attention to, and I could really ill afford that £4,000 at this precise moment in time, which is silly of me. All to prove would have been far safer to actually hire this temporarily, which would have cost me just a few pounds rather than thousands that I could not afford at this moment. In fact, to this day, I don't think I've used that seeder apart from on other contracts, so I suppose it wasn't a waste then, really thinking about it. Yeah, but this is where I'm going to try to prove that these are going to work. Yeah, it's on. Need to drop it down, Mr. Smith. It's not down. Now it is. Now look, it's not working, and I can't figure it out. It's because it looks like a field that throws you. It's not been ploughed, it's not a real field yet. And this escapes my notice. I'm like, what is happening? The world is against me. I can't. The other thing that may have gone wrong in this is the fact that the Fergie actually didn't have the horsepower to actually make it work properly. So it's fertilising but doing nothing else. I'm not sure whether this should, because it is a no-till plant seeder, so technically if that land is there, but if it's not been ploughed, if it's just, you cannot cultivate in a land that's not already a field. Like I could do it no-till on that field next to me because it's a field, but if that's not a field yet, it just because it looks like one, that's the bit that I can't grasp. And as I say, I know where I'm coming from. Even now at this moment, I know what happens in a like later episode, so I know I discover my mistake, but I think I'm still reeling, which is why I've tried to go all out to try to make this work, and it's still foxing me, and I've still not worked it out. Wow, that's such a bad rut. Is where I used my naughty superhuman strength. Although, to be honest, I'm not sure that you probably couldn't lug that around with a bit of effort with a spade. Mind you, I don't know. It is a ton, isn't it? So no, I don't suppose you could really. Guess now what I was thinking and saying. Wow, that's so painfully slow. Now I'm not sure unless the message came up on the screen that he run out of seed, I don't know why I would know to go over to, because I've obviously gathering the seed and I've put that extra seed that I've got, so I would say that I must be aware at this moment in time that the cotton, it has run out or is about to run out of seeds. I must, of course I'm looking at the map, aren't I? The Fruchtworks Inspector that shows that white and red writing that you can see on the top right hand side. That'll be showing me that he's getting really painfully low on seeds, so I'm thinking let's go and grab, let's go and drop that on the road. I'll be thinking let's go and take the seeds that I've got. I might just about manage. Oh dear. Oh my life. So I must be literally trying to save the day by taking the seed and the planter, which has also got seed, which obviously I can throw out as seed. So that must be what my thought process is, because obviously through my stupidity I've wasted £4,000, not in the truest sense. It is a good seeder, but at this precise moment in time I tied up 4,000. Of course, I am fully aware that we could have taken another contract as well, but right now at this moment I've compounded my errors by tying up money that we really needed for additional seeds, and then I could have easily run over with that very, very fast tractor, got some more seeds from the container, and then there would be no problem. But because I spent £4,000 on something that we couldn't afford at the moment, and also filled it up with seeds that we couldn't afford, then I've caused my own disaster. For every action there is an equal but opposite reaction. Cause and effect. And having to drag you guys and girls across the map in a tractor that does 30 miles an hour is painful. Nearly there now. Funnily enough, looking at this backwards from episode, I think we're at 12 now. Looking back from episode 12, this contract was a turning point. So although it is a terrible disaster, we did meet the disaster head on, and I think we dealt with it well. I'm not going to say any more than that, otherwise it does ruin what's happening. But I am quite pleased with, even though this seems a silly thing, as far as I'm concerned, my action was an honourable reaction to try to fix a problem, which was not a bad idea. Just sometimes the size of the problem is bigger than you can see at the moment that you're looking at it, but nevertheless it was a courageous and clever attempt to try to fix my mistake. But it would have been far cleverer had I not bought that seeder that was the thing that really caused the issue, which made a problem that didn't exist until I swallowed up all my money in that. As I say, I know I still could have still was possible to fix this by taking out a second contract, but if I remember rightly, there weren't many fantastic contracts around at that moment on the contracts board. They were all tiny weeny ones, or ones that would have taken hours, so I still would have had this contract on the go for absolutely ages. So obviously, truthfully speaking, this contract is the biggest payout to date that we've actually got. I'm going to change to 6-day seasons, my usual go-to amount of time. Look at that minus on wages. very nearly there now. What a palaver. Still, valiant effort. Unfortunately, a bit like trying to stick a sticky plaster on a gaping wound. Little out of scope. Again, I am oblivious to this fact. I'm just trying to fix the issue. Yeah. So he hadn't run out, he was about to run out, and I could see that, which is why I was rushing over to try to get to him before he literally ran out. So I think I'll soon have a look to see how far he'd got on finishing the contract, to see if the seed that I've got is enough to finish that contract. You can see by the position on the field though, he has got quite a way. I'm deciding not to go across the field that I've already planted, seeded. That's all done. Even though I would have done it no damage at all, I suppose the idea of ever going across a field that someone's planted is not a very clever idea. Where I'm trying to eject the seed. Can't remember how to do it. There we go, finally. Right, my valiant attempt. Can't get close enough to that seed in the middle. Trying to get as close as I possibly can. Still not close enough, still can't sense it. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Hence trying to use super strength to manually fill it. Getting into a right mess. Although I do actually manage to do it. There we are, all seed in that I possess. sometimes in a slightly wrong place.